Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kachidori.
Hello, it's Yeukai Kajidori here, and on behalf of my business partner, Trevor Stockwell, and the amazing team here at World Outsourcing Solutions, want to welcome you to this special episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. You can find us at worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, where we specialize in providing business owners from all walks of life with highly trained, highly skilled virtual assistants. We are the go-to center of all your outsourcing needs based here in the United Kingdom. Hi, everyone, and welcome to World Outsourcing Solutions podcast. Today's interview is sponsored by World Outsourcing Solutions, and we are here to help business owners with all your outsourcing needs and all other business-related topics. And today I'm speaking to an expert who has something of value to share with our listeners today. And as I was talking to her earlier on, I could see how her information, have valuable knowledge. It could help you as a business owner if you're getting started, or maybe you have already started and maybe you're coming against a few things, and I'm sure you will learn one or two things from Crystal. Crystal Etienne, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is the CEO and founder of PantyProp, a functional undergarment brand. Welcome to the call, Crystal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you, and really thank you for taking your time to share your wisdom that you've gained over a very long time. And to get us started, Crystal, I think our listeners would want to know who you are and a bit about your background. So my first question to you is, who are we talking to today?
Well, as you said, my name is Crystal Etienne. I am the founder and CEO of PantyProp. It's a brand that I created, which is functional undergarments for people who leak and who require the use of a sanitary pad. That is my brand. My background is in financial operations business, where I can operate an entire business. And in the past, I have owned and operated 4 lingerie-based New York stores and boutiques about 10, 11 years ago. And I also have 2 other companies, which is lingerie based. Basically my 3 companies, whether it is my other 2, which is a subscription panty box, sexy panties, or if it's my delivery of romantic lingerie, or if it's my brand, which is my baby PantyProp, it is all about empowerment for people. Empowerment for women to make them feel good and just feel great every day. And that's what anything that I ever do is all about, just to make people just feel good.
Beautiful. What I love about that is because you have an intention of adding value to other people. It makes your brand stand out, and people are attracted to that. But before we get to talk about your brand, how did you come up with the idea of getting started in this line of business?
For my brand PantyProp, it was out of a need. I just happened to be in my home one day watching TV, and I was just bothered with the fact that I can see my sanitary pad. I'm like, this is 2015, and there is no reason why a woman or anyone who leaks or have to deal with a sanitary pad for any type of leakage should have to deal with having to see it or be bothered with it, or even know it's there. It's something, whether you have menstruation or if you have, urine leaks or moisture, it's something that we don't have control over. And I just feel that in this era and in this day and age, that's not something that should make us uncomfortable or that we should have to think about or worry about. And we've come so far, and it's like this one little thing just hasn't moved on. There are other options, but when it came to a sanitary pad, which a high percentage of people use every single day, there was just no other option. It was just like you just have to deal with it. And I just felt uncomfortable, and I just knew that I had to create something for myself. That's how it started, just trying to create something for myself. And then I realized that there were other people out there who needed this.
Incredible. And when you discover that there were other people that needed it and you brought the product to the market, you would expect a lot of people decided they wanted to use your product. And, correct me if I'm wrong, actually, we were mentioning it earlier on that your product is the only product on the market that is patent. Can you share that a little bit with our audience?
Yeah. So when I first started looking for the product, I didn't start looking for it to create it. I actually started looking for it so I can buy one to make my
Yes.
life easier. So
Right.
I realized online that there was nothing. I tried free bleed underwear, underwear where you can leak on yourself, diapers, and they just weren't what I was looking for. It was more of an inconvenience. The diaper I had to hide; it was too big. The free bleeds I had to wash myself, hand wash, and it just was more of an inconvenience.
Right.
And then I realized that I just wanted something very quick and very fast to just be able to throw it in there and just go. So when I saw that it wasn't nothing there, that's when I said, you know what, let me just create it. I live in New York, the biggest fashion garment district that you can have.
And the
And
world.
yes, and I live in Long Island, so I got on the railroad and I went down there to the fabric places. I called over 300 factories, and I just kept asking questions, and I just went from there. And then as I was doing it and creating it, I realized that there aren't just regular, it's just not just me, a type of person like me. There are so many other people. There are special needs people who don't have the option to use, say, a tampon or a cup or something like that, or their special needs, so they don't have the time, or their caregiver doesn't want to take a tampon out, or to help them. So this is just a quick easy solution, just to put it in and go.
Right.
Teenagers, they have the fear of the tampon, of inserting that, and then there's pain. Then you have the
Right.
people who are just very busy like me and don't have the time to actually hand wash an underwear. So it was just a product that I was just shocked that it was not there. And I found factories, and I picked the best ones. I was offered to go overseas with it, but since I'm in New York, I'd rather, because I'm a perfectionist, I like to watch it and keep it. And I went down there every day watching it and making sure that it was correct, fixing it. And I'm just a perfectionist. I'm always looking to perfect something.
But just to you've touched on this a little bit. The process you went through in actually bringing the product to the market. Suppose you're talking to somebody who has identified the need, maybe because they're experiencing the pain of some sort, and they want to go out and get the solution, or to create a solution like you did. What were the necessary steps, if you can recall, of what you did, and what can they do to get their product or their idea straight to the market?
To do a lot of research. In
Right.
this world today, Google is the best that you can have. It's
Yeah.
the best. You can put something in and a million things come up for it. So it's basically just the research, and it's a lot of work. So if you're not passionate about something, like, it's a lot of work, so it's never going to work. So if you're passionate about something, nothing is ever going to stop you. So I'm very passionate, like I said, about just women feeling good about themselves, women having options, and women being able to stand up and say, I need that, or I want that, and I demand that. And that's where it comes from. And it has nothing to do with making money. It has nothing to do with actually having a brand. It's all within myself. And I feel that anyone who has a passion about something, you're not going to let anything stand in your way. And like I said, when I first started, I have no background at all in design, of creating
Right.
a product, of creating a brand. I know how to run and operate a company, but to take it from, concept to market, I had no idea. My background is after it's in market, where I can operate and tell you exactly, expertisely. So I had to really research, and I did a lot of work. It was all day.
Right.
When I wrote the patent, I stayed home every single day, from morning to night at my dining room table. And it took me just 3 weeks just to research and calling the U.S. PTO department just to find out. It's a lot of work, but if you're passionate about something, it feels like it's nothing.
I like that. And once you got that out of way, you were certain that this is the product that was needed on the market. Of course, you're very passionate about that. What was the next step that you took? That got you closer to releasing the product to the market?
I work quick, so once I have an idea in my head and I'm passionate about it, within 2 months, I had because I was going every single day to correct
Wonderful.
it and to make sure that it was good and to make sure it fit. I had the product within like 2 months, and then I was just ready to go. I have no marketing background, so that's something that I had to figure out and do. And again, I went to Google.
I like that. I like that. And what were the major roadblocks that you were facing in the process of doing, taking your product to the market?
The roadblock is that there was nothing there. So when it's good to have a new product that there's nothing out there like it, but then there's no one looking for your product either. There's no one Googling your product to look for it.
Right.
So I had to be creative with that. And like I said, I have no marketing background. I'm a creative person in my personal life, but not when it came to a product. So I just basically pushed. I just went with my personality. Like I'm just true to myself at all times. And I think that's what has gotten me my following on all my social media accounts. And I'm just like everyone else.
Yes. What I like about you, from our previous conversation, is how quick you are in getting your ideas out there. And I think
Yes.
the speed to the market usually separates those who wins and those who don't win when it comes to business. If you see an opportunity and you move, quick enough, you are going to get the majority of the share than somebody who takes it slowly. And I can, hear it from your voice and what you're saying there. And at what point did you have a major breakthrough in this whole process?
Immediately.
Immediately. I like that.
Yes, it actually hit me because, like I said, I've owned businesses before, and I know
Right.
business goes very, very slow. Like
Right.
everyone who doesn't own a business, who's just starting, you think that it's just going to fly off the
Yes.
shelves and everyone's just going to come to your website and they're just going to love it. It doesn't happen that way. And
Right.
that's what happened with my other businesses and my other stores that I had. But with this, it actually just went off immediately. Like within 2 months, I am one of the top three, period panty companies. And I'm very grateful for it because I'm so happy that everyone who comes and who purchases from my website every day and the feedback that I get from it, and you can't please everyone, but the majority of the feedback, the highest percentage is that just thank you so much for creating this. Just for having the option. Today I was just speaking to a lady who had she said she came through our chat and she said that she had a 16-year-old daughter with special needs.
Right.
And she said, like, where has this been? Like, this is going to make my life and my daughter's life so much easier. The fact that she can just switch out her pad. And she said, this is going to give her so much independence. And stuff like that is what makes me feel just phenomenal.
Absolutely. Because you're really adding value to people, and people's lives are being changed by your product. Now,
Yeah.
you sound like you had some influence of a mentor in your life, because things like that don't just flow,
No,
fall off the
I
sky.
didn't. I actually didn't.
Yes, talk to me about that, about mentors in your life.
I don't have any mentors. I've just been like this since a little girl. I've always looked for ways to better something since I was younger. Always.
Right.
I would read before there was an internet. My father would make me read the dictionary before I went outside, the encyclopedia. And I just became
Sounds like a great
fascinated
man
with
to have around.
Yes, I'm sure so many people when we were younger had encyclopedias like me in the house. And before I can go outside, me and my sister, we would have to read the encyclopedia. And I just
Right.
became so intrigued. I started reading it out without him telling me, before you go outside, you have to read, because I was just so intrigued with those encyclopedia stories. And anything, like I said, I'm just that type that any of my friends or any of my family can tell you that if I know that something can help someone, can better someone, I am going to give you the information. I'm going to help you get it as much as I can. I'm not going to do the work for you, but I will definitely give you that information and give you that option to say, this is what you can do. I actually have no mentors at all. I've just always it's just my personality. I'm the same wherever I go.
Incredible, incredible. I wish, we have more people like you who just want to help other people. In fact, that's what business is all about. It's all about helping others get what they want. And in
Yeah,
turn, of course, you get what you want. It's just how it works. Let's talk about, if you were to do it all over again, running three different successful company is no easy job. It's not like, walk in the park. You certainly have learned some critical things. But, you know, if you were to do it over again, starting from scratch, what would you do different from what you did when you were starting, all the three companies?
I wouldn't change not one thing.
You wouldn't
Everything
change
that
one thing.
has not one thing at all. Every stumble that I have ever, it's just made me stronger. It's made me be more passionate about what I'm doing and not about the money. And that's just always been important to me, like to just actually just help whatever cause it is at that moment, whatever situation it is at that moment. It's never been about the money. It's always just been about me completing. There's so many problems in the world, no one can solve them all,
Right.
but the ones that I'm passionate about, I'm going to work hard to try to help. Even if I can help one person, it just means a lot to me.
Awesome. Awesome. And maybe for our listeners here, they're beginning to think about taking their product to the market, or they're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. What are three things that you would want to point them out to say, look, getting started today, these are the three things that you need to look out for, or you need to have it right, or you need to avoid. Well, what would you say to them?
Avoid spending unnecessary money. That's number one.
Right.
That's number one, because a lot of entrepreneurs make that mistake right from the beginning. They think that if they get say a PR firm, they pay a PR firm $2,500 a month or $500 a month, that their company is just going to blow up. That's not true. It'll get you publicity, but it's a story. And journalism is a business in itself. They're looking for the best story. It might get you a few clicks, but it's not going to necessarily get you sales. So that's number one. Don't spend unnecessary money. Two, most important is be very passionate about whatever it is, whatever service you're doing, whatever product you're doing. Like, don't just look up the latest trend and think you're going to get up a website and people are going to come and just make you millions of dollars overnight. That's not going to happen either. um,
Okay.
and then the last thing I would say is do research. Research everything and don't ever stop researching, because times change and life moves quick.
Incredible, incredible. Those are valid points, and they stand true even to what we're doing here. Let's dive in deeper in where you say avoid spending. How do you identify, Crystal, really, if you can help us understand here, what not to spend money on and what to spend money on if you're starting on as a business?
Okay, so what not to spend money on is expensive, say, PR,
Yeah.
expensive marketing. Um, don't just go and hire a bunch of employees. Prove your concept before you put money out there. It's okay to spend, a few couple of $100s, but when you're divulging like thousands of dollars into something that you haven't even proven the concepts on, it's not good, because you're going to need that money eventually when your stuff starts selling, because you're going to need to go into production again, or you're going to need to rent an office or something down the line, though, not right away. Prove your concept first. Um,
I
that's
love
that's
this.
basically all when it comes to as far as money. Just everyone is going to come at you. Everyone, people don't realize that everything in this world revolves around sales. So if it's someone coming through an email, which I get all the time of people offering things or wanting to do a service, they're sales and they're trying to make a sale just like you. And just make sure that it's something that you really need. And even if you can afford it, don't just take $10,000 or $5,000 and waste it on advertising or something that's not going to be useful for you. Prove your concept first and do your legwork. Be your own advertisement in marketing.
Beautiful, well said. To prove your concept is one of those areas that a lot of people completely forget about. They may be passionate about something, and it may mean so much to them, but they haven't tested the market to see if there's a huge need for it. And if you are to prove a concept, Crystal, in today's market, with Uncle Google being around, what I may like key ways of doing that before somebody go full on. What did you do when you were starting your three companies? How did you prove the concept?
One of my ways, which a lot of people can't do, is I took samples and I gave them to media, um, and I just sent a nice email. Or I actually, again, I'm in New York, so I just actually went to the buildings to drop it off. That's free.
I like that.
Proving your concept is another way of doing that. Is not just proving your concept is not with family and friends. They'll tell you anything.
Right.
that that's nice. Sometimes you have the truthful ones, like I did. I had my sister, my older sister, who's very truthful with things. But most people don't have a truthful friend or family. Your friend or family is always going to tell you that everything is great. So proving your concept is actually getting out there in front of people and showing your product or your service, proving it, or saying, let me just do this for you for $15 of something that, to prove a concept, sometimes you got to lose to win, and that's the key, because in the end you're going to win, but you need to prove it before you divulge any money into
Incredible. Incredible. I think you've well explained on that. Let's talk about time management. One of the things that I have noticed, and many of our clients talk about, is I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. How do you manage your time running three businesses, and a family, and you've got extra curriculum or extra,
it.
hobbies. What do you do?
I don't know. I just do it. I ask myself that all the time. I only sleep about 4 hours a day, the most, and
Let's
I,
talk
I
about
just
an average day for you. What time are you up? What's a typical day like for you?
I wake up about 8 a.m. I get my son off to the bus. That
Yes.
takes a good like half hour of going back and forth with him and getting him on the bus. And then my typical day is in my car going from place to place that has my products, checking on my products, seeing that they're being made, looking for things to perfect my product, um, checking my website all day to make sure that it's correct and up to par, answering people's questions, answering emails all day. It's an all day process. You have to be a strong person. And honestly, it just, you, after maybe like a couple of weeks, you just do it. You just actually just do it. Have you ever just had something where you just do it all the time, and then when it's taken away from you, you're like, oh my God, like how did I actually do that?
Yes, because it becomes
Yes, I'm sure
habitual.
we've all had that out of business in our personal life, and you're just really like, I don't know how I did that.
Incredible, incredible. In the business environment today, do you think it's easier to start a business today than when you got started in your
Years
businesses?
ago, it is it's easier to start a business is very easy. To run a business is not as easy as it was before because there's so much competition. So anyone these days, you can take $15 and start a website. You didn't have that option, almost 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Or you needed to know how to create a website. In this day, to start a business is very easy, but to actually run one and operate one is not, because there's too much competition. If you put in anything on, Yahoo or Google, a million things come up. If you're on social media, everyone is selling something. So it's not easy to start a business, but it is easy to start a business.
Awesome. And now that we covered that, how do you actually market your businesses? Let's focus on your most recent one. How do you get the word out there?
I did mine through just myself of being out there and then spreading, the word is spread, slowly but surely. And it just, within a couple of weeks, it just shot off because I actually have a product that is not out there that people need. And like I said, I just always, with everything that I've done from day one, I've just always been myself. I've been passionate about what I did. If you're a person who don't want it or don't need it, I'm fine with that. And then there's a bunch of people who do need it. And I love that.
Yes.
So it's not, you can't get your feelings hurt in the mix because, like I said, you can't please everyone. And not everyone needs everything.
That's right. You have to identify those that need what you have, who become your raving fans. And somebody once said, if you can find 1,000 people who need what you need, what you're offering, you actually create, raving fans from that 1,000 people. They will save you for a lifetime. They will create opportunities for you, and you get sales over and over and over again. So you just have to identify a few things. Let's talk about your product as we coming to the end of our time here together. Maybe you can educate our listeners and tell us where they can find the products and how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so for PantyProp, you can go to pantyprop.com. That's PantyProp.com. It is a functional undergarment where you can just prop your sanitary pad in and you just go. It's failure free for flowing. And when I say flow, that covers menstruation, urine leaks, moisture buildup. Not only women experience that, men do also.
Yes, you were mentioning that you've got a product coming up in a few months' time. Maybe you could mention that as well for guys.
Yes, in 2 months I have my men's line, which is coming out because I've had a lot of men ask me, what about us?
Yes.
And
What about us?
I actually really didn't even know that men wear sanitary pads, but they do for leakage. And right now, the only options that they have are adult diapers, or they have to stick this big, huge pad inside of their underwear. And one man, it's funny because one man, which pushed me to do it, is he said, "Well, what about when I'm on a date and I go back home with my girl? I just want to plop my pad out and stick it in my back pocket." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to create it for you." And that's what I'm in the middle of doing now, to create for men also.
Wonderful. And they can find you on that website, PantyProp.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Any final words for business owners there that are getting started or that are thinking about getting into business?
Just research and be very careful as to where you spend your money. Everyone's a salesperson. That's basically it. And just be, the most important, like I said, is to be very passionate about what you're doing. Because if you're not passionate about it, those days when it's hard, when you don't get any sales or someone says something bad about your product, you're not going to stand up for it like you would if you were passionate about what you were doing.
Incredible. Thank you, Crystal, for such a great interview. And I'm sure all our business owners in our audience learned a lot about PantyProp and how they can, benefit from it, and also learn about the business concept, especially, be quick, move fast when you've got an idea to get to the market. I really like that part. And thanks again for those final thoughts. encouraging business owners to work very hard and do their own research. And thank you guys for being here with us here, and for the support that you continue showing to World Outsourcing Solutions. For any needs, do send us an email to support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, and we will be happy to assist you. Once again, Crystal, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the call.
Thank you.
And have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.